Hi, welcome to Storytime with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading another story from our Disney Friendship Stories, A Treasury of Tales. And in fact, we're reading the last story in this book. Our story comes from Bambi and it's called The Winter Trail. One winter morning, Bambi, the young deer, was dozing in the thicket when he heard a thumping sound nearby. "Come on, Bambi," his bunny friend Thumper cried. "It's a perfect day for playing." Bambi got up slowly and followed Thumper through the forest. It was a beautiful day. The sky was blue and sunny, and the ground was covered in a blanket of new snow. Icicles glistened on the trees. "Look at these tracks," Thumper said excitedly. He pointed to a line of footprints in the snow. "I saw them on the way over. Who do you suppose they belong to?" Bambi couldn't guess, so they decided to follow the trail. They pranced and hopped through the snow. Before long, they came to the tree and saw someone who might have left the tracks. "Wake up, friend owl," called Thumper. The bird peered down at the animals. He had only just flown to his favorite tree branch and fallen asleep. "Stop that racket," he replied crossly and closed his eyes. Bambi and Thumper giggled. Friend Owl was always grouchy when they woke him up. "Friend Owl, have you been out walking?" Bambi asked. "Now why would I do that?" Friend Owl replied, opening his eyes. "My wings take me everywhere I need to go." Bambi and Thumper continued on. Soon they met up with Bambi's friend Feline. "You can help us find out who made these tracks," said Bambi, pointing to the trail. Thumper thumped his foot impatiently. He wanted to keep going. Feline nodded and began to walk with them. Thumper hopped ahead quickly. Maybe their friend Flower the skunk wanted to come too. But Flower was hibernating. Thumper's mama had told him that meant the skunk would be sleeping all winter long. When Thumper tried to wake Flower, the little skunk just mumbled, "See you next spring." Without even opening his eyes, the three friends decided to keep going without him. Thumper bounded ahead. He followed the footprints to a frozen pond and glided across. "Come on," he called. "There are tracks over here too." So Feline and Bambi started to cross the pond, but before long, Feline had joined Thumper on the other side, but Bambi wasn't a very good skater. His legs went out from under him and he fell on the ice. "Aw, Bambi, come on," Thumper urged. "We can go skating later. I'll even show you how to spin around." After a lot of slipping and sliding, Bambi finally took a running start and sped across the pond on his belly. Next, the three friends walked up a snowy hill. At the top, they spotted a raccoon sitting next to a tree trunk eating some red berries. "Hello, Mr. Raccoon," Feline said. "Did you happen to see who made these tracks in the snow?" But the raccoon's mouth was so full he couldn't say anything. He shook his head and began tapping the tree. The friends looked around. Then they heard a tap, tap, tap in the distance. "I know," Thumper cried. "He thinks we should ask the woodpeckers." "Oh, thank you," Bambi said. The raccoon waved goodbye as the friends headed toward a row of pine trees. The tapping got louder and louder. Soon, Bambi, Feline, and Thumper had found the woodpeckers. The mama was pecking away, and her three children were sitting in holes in the tree trunk. They stuck their heads out when they heard Thumper cry, "Hello!" The mama bird stopped her pecking. "Yes?" she asked. "Well, you see," Bambi began shyly, "we were wondering, we were looking for—" "Ah, for Pete's sake," Thumper interrupted. "Did you make the tracks in the snow?" he called up to the birds. "No, we've been here all day," the mama bird answered. "Yes, yes, yes," her babies added. Just then Feline noticed that the trail continued. "Thank you," she called to the birds. She rushed ahead while Bambi and Thumper walked slowly. If the tracks don't belong to the woodpeckers, and they don't belong to the raccoon, and they don't belong to Friend Owl, whose can they be? Bambi asked his friend Rabbit. I don't know, Thumper replied, frustrated. They soon reached the end of the trail, and the tracks led all the way to a snowy bush where a family of quail was resting. Hello, Mrs. Quail, cooed as the deer and rabbit approached. Did you make these tracks? Thumper asked her. Why, yes, Mrs. Quail answered. Friend Owl told me about this wonderful bush, so this morning my babies and I walked all the way over here. Thumper and Bambi nodded. Then Thumper pointed to the edge of the glen. Feline was there. Mrs. Quail invited us to join her for a snack, so I was getting some leaves, she said. The three friends sat down to eat with the quail family. But the sun was getting low and the friends had to get home. They'd spent all day following the trail. When they turned to leave, a big surprise was waiting for them. Their mothers! Bambi bounded over to his mother and stretched his nose up for a kiss. We've been looking for you, she told him tenderly. Thumper was surprised. How'd you find us? He asked. Thumper's mama said, Well, your sisters pointed us in the right direction, and then she looked down at the deer and rabbit tracks that the three friends had left in the snow. You followed our trail, Feline cried. Her mother nodded. Now, let's follow it back home, Bambi's mother said. And that's just what they did. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.